Somewhere on Earth, right now, a baby has just taken its first breath. In the same second, another child, born only moments earlier, is already living a life defined by lack. No clean water, no proper food, no safe place to sleep. This is not a rare tragedy. This is the daily reality for hundreds of millions of children. And it happens every single second of every single day. Around 4.3 babies are born somewhere in the world every second. That is more than 250 births every minute, over 15,000 every hour, and more than 360,000 by the time this day ends. Behind this constant rhythm of new life lies a harder truth. A significant share of these children are born straight into poverty before they have had any chance to choose their future. According to UNICEF, more than 400 million children worldwide are living in extreme monetary poverty, surviving on less than $3 a day. Nearly 1 in 5 children on this planet falls into this category. Almost 90% of them live in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, regions where poverty is not just common, it is inherited, passed from one generation to the next, like a curse nobody asked for. Do the math, and the picture becomes even harder to ignore. If roughly 1 in 5 babies born each second enters a life of extreme poverty, that means nearly 1 child every second is born without the basic resources needed to survive, let alone thrive. Poverty is rarely just about money. It is about everything money is supposed to provide: clean water, enough food, a roof that doesn't leak, a school within reach, a doctor when a fever will not break. For these children, all of that is uncertain from the very first day of life. Consider a newborn in a displacement camp in East Africa or a slum on the outskirts of a South Asian megacity. Their mother may have walked hours for a single container of clean water. Their first months may be shaped by malnutrition, unsafe housing, or a complete absence of medical care. This is not a distant, abstract statistic. It is a child with a name, a face, and a future that is already being narrowed before they can even speak. The geography of this crisis is not random. In Norway, a newborn has a near certain chance of surviving past their 5th birthday. In many parts of sub-Saharan Africa, that same certainty does not exist. Where a child is born, more than almost anything else, decides the odds they will face. A birth in Lagos or Kinshasa carries a different set of risks than a birth in Oslo or Tokyo, not because of anything the child did, but simply because of geography and circumstance. Poverty in childhood is measured in more than income alone. UNICEF's global research looks at 6 areas of deprivation: education, health, housing, nutrition, sanitation, and clean water. Across more than 130 countries, over 118 million children are missing 3 or more of these basic essentials at once. 17 million children are missing 4 or more. These are not isolated gaps. They compound. A child without clean water is more likely to fall sick. A child who is sick misses school. A child who misses school has fewer paths out of poverty as an adult. Even wealthier nations are not exempt. Across 37 high-income countries, around 50 million children live in relative poverty, meaning their household has significantly less than most families around them. In some of these countries, child poverty has actually increased over the last decade, even as overall wealth has grown. Poverty, it turns out, is not simply about how much a country has. It is about how that wealth is shared and who is left out when it isn't. The consequences of being born into poverty rarely stay contained to childhood. Research shows that nearly half of all children who grow up in poverty remain poor as adults. They are far more likely to face financial stress, limited education, and fewer opportunities than children who never experienced poverty at all. The cycle does not break easily. It repeats quietly across generations in households that never had the chance to build a different future. Poverty in childhood is measured in more than income alone. UNICEF's global research looks at 6 areas of deprivation: education, health, housing, nutrition, sanitation, and clean water. Across more than 130 countries, over 118 million children are missing 3 or more of these basic essentials at once. 17 million children are missing 4 or more. These are not isolated gaps. They compound. A child without clean water is more likely to fall sick. A child who is sick misses school. A child who misses school has fewer paths out of poverty as an adult. Even wealthier nations are not exempt. Across 37 high-income countries, around 50 million children live in relative poverty, meaning their household has significantly less than most families around them. In some of these countries, child poverty has actually increased over the last decade, even as overall wealth has grown. Poverty, it turns out, is not simply about how much a country has. It is about how that wealth is shared and who is left out when it isn't. The consequences of being born into poverty rarely stay contained to childhood. Research shows that nearly half of all children who grow up in poverty remain poor as adults. They are far more likely to face financial stress, limited education, and fewer opportunities than children who never experience poverty at all. The cycle does not break easily. It repeats quietly across generations in households that never had the chance to build a different future. And the crisis is not standing still. Conflict, climate change, and cuts to international aid are pushing more families toward the edge. Reports warn that reduced funding for health and nutrition programs could cost the lives of millions of children under 5 in the coming years. For children already living on almost nothing, even a small disruption, a lost harvest, a closed clinic, a lost job can be the difference between survival and catastrophe. Yet this is not a story without hope. Poverty on this scale is not an accident of nature. It is shaped by policy, by investment, by choices made in parliaments and boardrooms far from the children it affects. And where those choices change, the numbers change with them. Some countries have proven this. Strong family support programs, accessible healthcare, and fair minimum wages have measurably reduced child poverty within a single decade. Slovenia, for example, cut its child poverty rate by more than a quarter in 10 years, largely through better family benefits and wage policy. It is not a mystery how to help these children. It is a matter of will, resources, and priority. It is easy to feel that a problem this large is too big for any one action to matter, but global poverty has never been reduced by a single decision. It has been reduced by millions of smaller ones. A vaccination program funded instead of cut. A school kept open instead of closed. A family given cash support instead of being left to manage alone. None of these actions end poverty by themselves. Together, over years, they have already lifted hundreds of millions of children out of the worst of it. Every second, a child is born into a world of scarcity through no fault of their own. But every second is also a chance for someone, somewhere, to decide that this doesn't have to keep repeating. A vaccine delivered on time. A school built in a village that never had one. A support program that reaches a family before the crisis hits. Governments, aid organizations, and ordinary citizens all play a role in this. Donations to trusted organizations fund vaccines and clean water systems. Policy decisions determine whether a family in crisis has a safety net or falls straight. The question this leaves behind is simple, and it is not going away. How many more seconds will pass before that changes?